Here is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Architecture at Mapua Institute of Technology, now Mapua University. He had his theological studies and training at the International Graduate School of Leadership, or ITSL, earning his Master of Divinity degree. He finished his Doctor of Ministry at the Dallas Theological Seminary, Dallas, Texas, USA. He is presently the Youth and Discipleship Pastor of the Makati Gospel Church. He is married to Mrs. Ptr Go, and they were blessed with 4 children. Brothers and sisters, let us welcome our speaker for this morning, Reverend Manuel Go Jr.
Can I use this? Hi guys, good morning. Still remember me? Have I shared my testimony with you guys? Not yet? About what I'm going through or something? Well, whenever I come to speak in a school, I'm always reminded way back when I was still 4 or 5 years old, and that is way back. 50 years, actually. So when I was about 4 or 5 years old, my mom enrolled me in a kind of like a Montessori. It was an international kindergarten school, and I love it. I go there every day. I can't wait to be there, not because I want to learn, but because I had a crush on an American girl named Angela. Now, you might be asking, 4 and 5 years old ka lang, may crush ka lang. Well, I have too much love to give, actually. So the reason why I kind of had a crush on her was because of her blonde hair and the most beautiful blue eyes that I've ever seen. So every day I would think of how to impress her, because she's so pretty that all the guys in nursery are always around her trying to gain her attention and trying to do things for her. So every day I will be thinking of some ways of, showing that I'm better with the other boys. One day, during nap time, those kindergarten schools, after lunch, they put out mattresses on the floor and for the kids to take a nap. So we were all taking a nap, and then Angela stood up and went to the toilet. And even before the door of the toilet closed, she screamed and then ran out of the toilet crying. And because there was no teacher there, all the boys stood up from their mattresses and, what's wrong, Angela? What can we do to help you? Why did you scream? And then she said, in between tears, there's a big cockroach in the toilet and I'm scared of cockroaches. So when the boys heard that it was a cockroach, one by one, they kind of backed away from Angela and went back to their mattresses and pretended to go back to sleep. But then somebody said, don't worry, Angela, I'll take care of it. I'll get rid of the cockroach for you. It was me. Yeah, now's my chance, right? Now's my chance that I can show Angela that I'm braver from the other boys. So as I was walking to the toilet, I was thinking to myself, I haven't killed a cockroach before, but I've seen my mom do it. No big deal. Just remove your slippers or your shoe and then whack on the cockroach. And sometimes you hear a crunch, but sometimes you don't. So when I went into the toilet and the door closed behind me, I took off my shoe. But then something strange happened. Instead of running away with like what I usually see when my mom tries to kill a cockroach, this one turned facing me. And before I can whack the cockroach, it flew into my face. The whole class was outside the toilet, including Angela, and that was the first time that they heard the most loudest girlish scream in their life. Needless to say, I didn't go back to that school anymore. What are you afraid of? What is that thing that is keeping you awake at night? You're so young, you have ministries ahead of you, but we all have our fears. What if when we graduate, the church that, told us to come here doesn't need us anymore? What if you guys graduated and somebody else is in your position in church? What if you graduated and the focus or the track that you studied is not relevant anymore? Or what's worse is, what if you don't graduate? Who's the graduating students here? None of you are graduating students? Are you sure you're going to graduate? See, it's so scary there, especially if we are outside in this cruel, sinful world. Wouldn't it be nice if we don't have any fear in our life? Think about it. No more concerns, no more worries, no more anxieties. Wouldn't you like to have a fearless life? Right? When you wake up in the morning, you wake up with a smile, looking forward to another problem-free, worry-free, free of fear. But as much as we want to be fearless, we cannot. Why? Because it is designed in us. God designed fear in us so that we will be protected from our stupid decisions. Boys, can you imagine if you don't have any fear, what would you do? You would put your hand on the flame of a candle. What would you do? You try to become Superman. Some of you might try jumping off the building. Some of you might not pay attention when you're crossing the street and then there's a bus that is speeding and you just cross because you are fearless. Girls as well, right? Fear is designed for us to run to God because He is our helper. But the problem is we usually use fear in the wrong way. When we overthink something, when we don't run to God, when we try to think of why this is happening to me, we become more fearful because we start imagining things. Right? It's still unsure of what you are afraid of. And if there's no one to guide you, you tend to think something worse than what can possibly happen. If you graduate and then you don't have any ministry or any church to go to, we tend to think, oh no, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? What am I going to do to earn money? What am I going to do to glorify God? It seems that I have wasted 4 to 5 years of my time in this Bible school, which I learned a lot, and then when I graduate, God doesn't want to use me. We tend to overthink when we are afraid of fear, afraid of what lies beyond us, so what we call excessive fear. So what do? We know that fear cannot be removed because it is part of our design as human beings. But can we at least fear less? Oh, where's my PowerPoint? Fear less. That the thing that is bothering us and that is keeping us awake at night, can we fear less so that we can go through life depending upon God? And my answer to you is yes. Although we cannot be free from fear, although that we can not be completely fearless, but we can fear less. So let's go to our passage this morning, and we're going to see a group of people who are very fearful because of the situation that they're in and how God, Jesus, ministered to them. Our passage is in John 6, 16 to 24. Now, I like narrative style of preaching, so I won't be reading the passage, but it's just a guide for you as I narrate it. Our passage opens and telling us that Jesus' disciples immediately went on a boat to sail across the Sea of Galilee. That is what Jesus commanded them to do, and so they obeyed Jesus and went on a boat and sailed towards Capernaum. Strangely, Jesus didn't get into the boat with them. Why? Because in the previous verses, in verses 1 to 15, Jesus just performed the miracle of feeding of the 5,000. And it was a miracle because how many fish and how many loaves of bread did Jesus use? 5 quick quiz. Everyone knows that. So when he was able to feed 5,000 using just several pieces of fish and several pieces of bread, the people that were fed said or thought, this is the guy that we are waiting for. This is the Messiah. Let's grab him, force him to become our king, so that once and for all we will be free from the yoke of Roman bondage. Now, that was in their head. The reason why Jesus immediately told his disciples to leave is because Jesus knows his disciples very, very well. And if the mob actually grabbed Jesus to make him king, physical king, earthly king, the disciples would help the mob. Because you are the chosen 12. And if your master, Jesus, and you are his 12 close apostles, disciples, when Jesus becomes king, they will have government positions. Judas might be the head of BIR. Peter might ask to be the prime minister. But that is not what God's plan is for those 12. So Jesus, pinalis na niya, right? So that they will not be involved in what the crowd was about to do. And when the disciples left, Jesus went up into the mountains to pray to the Father. Now when the disciples were in their boat and they were crossing the Sea of Galilee, what happened? Suddenly a storm came and everywhere grew dark, and Jesus was not with them. And they were so afraid. They were alone and afraid. Why? Because the waves are crashing all around them. Water is getting into the little fishing boat, and they were struggling to row the boat out of the storm, but they have been struggling for 9 hours. And what made them afraid is Jesus had seasoned fishermen with him, and they were in the boat. And if they struggled 9 hours and not being able to get out of the storm, they themselves will get afraid. Now, when Jesus was still in the mountain, he turned and saw the disciples struggling. So he went to the disciples to help them. And what happened? When the disciples saw Jesus, they did not recognize him. They saw an apparition, a ghost, a spirit, an image walking on the water. And they were scared. And then what did Jesus do? It is I. Do not be afraid. And the disciples recognized the voice of Jesus, invited him into the boat. And the moment that Jesus stepped into the boat, what happened? Is it there? No, it's okay, you don't need to change it. But the moment that Jesus stepped into the boat, the storm disappeared. And not only that, they were at their destination. Storm gone, they were in their destination. They don't need to row anymore. What is keeping you awake at night? What are the storms that you're going through that you try to solve by yourself, by what you learn, by what other people tell you to do, and you see no progress in trying to relieve the thing that is keeping you awake, the thing that is keeping you afraid at night? All of us here will experience days where it's so dark and stormy, and you are tossed to and fro like the disciples during the storm, and you feel that you're all alone. You cannot feel Jesus within the thing that is going through your life and that is making you afraid. You alone in the storm, battling the winds, and you feel alone. You know what this passage tells us? We are not alone. Although Jesus seems to be far away in a mountain praying to the Father, although Jesus is far away, we think that Jesus is in heaven. He doesn't pay attention to us. This passage says that Jesus sees us as we struggle in the storm. And if we invite him into the boat with us in the storm, it will stop. It will either stop, or Jesus will make it in such a way that we trust in him because he is with us. Actually, I was going to preach a different message this morning. And I found out that the file, the PowerPoint, is not in my daughter's thumb drive, only a bunch of movies. So I changed to this one. And to fear less takes big faith. Takes big faith. And you need to experience the faithfulness of Jesus for you to be fearless. And when you want to experience the goodness of Jesus and to see if He is with you in any storm in your life, you need to take a step in faith towards Jesus. Wherever we invite Jesus in, whatever situation we are in, if we have Jesus as our guide, as our comforter, as our direction in life, you will fear less. Because all of us will experience one thing or another that will drive us crazy, that will drive us to fear. Sometimes we have some health issues. Sometimes you will experience health issues that are incurable or unexplainable. Money easily gone. And as time goes by, how old are you guys? 15, 16? No, you look like 15, 16, like me. I'm 55. My life is getting shorter. You got a lot of life in you. So, glorify God with what years you have left. Jesus talked a lot about fear. In this world, everything will come and try to drag us away from Jesus. And will always tell you, nagpastor-pastor ka pa, nag-Bible school ka pa. Where is Jesus in this storm? Aren't you supposed to be well protected because you're serving Jesus? You know that happened to me. I was a very, very bad student. When I became a Christian, when I was 14, 15 years old, I committed to serve God full time. And when I came back to Manila, the organization, the school where I'm going to, did not even call me and train me. You would think that they would, right? There's very few young people who would write that they were willing to go full time. It's like a captive pastor now. No one discipled me, no one called me up, no one made any follow-ups or anything. I was really, really bad, and I really, really hated. I began to hate the church. I began to hate God. I became hateful of pastors, Christian classmates, and everything, because I don't take rejection very well. So from 15 onwards, if you like to hear the full testimony, you go to YouTube. Are you allowed to watch YouTube? Okay. You go to YouTube. Sorry, but I kind of are trying to make you guys feel like you're in a concentration camp. No, there's much love here. So you go to you go to YouTube, look for Makati Gospel Church channel, and look for the video God of Me. I cannot tell you my whole testimony because it's going to take up a lot of your classroom time. So I was really, very bad. I vandalized the school. I blew up toilets with, please don't do it, not here. Blew up toilets. I tried to set fire to our school twice. And you know why I wasn't kicked out of the school? My father was the board of trustee. Yeah. So it was only when I became 40 years old, that's when I was awakened by God, and God reminded me, you promised me that you will serve me full time. You're 40 years old now. Time to serve God. And the catalyst, or the person who encouraged me, was supposed to be your speaker this morning, James. He's my tormentor. He's my mentor. So I came to know, 40, I started to serve. We organized a youth fellowship at our church, and then I said, I cannot just organize a youth fellowship. I have to know how to, handle you guys, the youth. So I entered seminary. And I hate pastors. I did tell you I hate pastors. I'm a very poor student. So 3 years went by. I graduated. Guess what? I discovered I have Parkinson's disease. Incurable. No cure. Then I wondered to myself, what is going on? Right? I sacrificed 3 years of my life to study and graduate. And this is what I get? I mean, if I would have stayed as an architect, if I stayed worldly, nothing seems to be happening to me. Why is it that when I graduated the seminary to prepare to serve God, then He gave me Parkinson's disease? One thing led to another. I decided to go to Dallas to study, which is kind of crazy because I'm not allowed to be alone. Because Parkinson's disease is sometimes it will make you fall, sometimes you just, don't know what to do, feel miserable. Because one of the side effects of Parkinson's, and if you drink Parkinson's medicine, it's always also a side effect, is depression. So I get depression from my Parkinson's, and I get depression from the medicine that treats the Parkinson's. Okay, I'm not supposed to be alone. And when I go to Dallas, I go alone. Then after graduating Dallas, discover something else. I'm going blind. The optic nerves of my left eye, half is left. And this side has started to, deteriorate the optic nerves of my eye. What's going on? Right? You know what I got from God? I got 2 honors in IGSL. God is telling me, and probably is telling you, when you get your diploma, and some of you are going to get high honors, your ministry, your life, the way you treat others, is not dependent on the 2 pieces of paper that I got from IGSL, but on Him and Him alone. No one is going to ask you, what is your grade when you graduate? Some of you here are so grade conscious. It doesn't matter when you're out there. It's just something to make you feel good. It's something to probably, I don't think you do this, but it's something that you can show to your classmate that you have highest honor and they don't. That is what God is telling you. Gave you 2 awards for you to, feel good. But I gave you Parkinson's to make you realize that those 2 pieces of paper won't help you in the ministry. You rely on me. What about the blindness? That eventually I will go blind. What is God's message to me? Probably telling me, stop looking at your wife because your eyes cannot handle her beauty. It's not for Pogi Points because she's not here, so it's only you guys who heard me, and I'm sure the boys are going to use it one way or another. Did Jesus know that there was going to be a storm? Yes. Then why did He send His disciples into the storm? Because the disciples had just experienced Jesus' biggest miracle, feeding of the 5,000. And because of that, the disciples have this same mindset as the mob that Jesus drew away. They think that Jesus is the physical Messiah, the worldly Messiah, the Messiah that will take them out of Roman bondage. And Jesus led them into the boat, into the storm, and then He walked on water, approaching them to show them that He is not a world Messiah, but He is God. Tell me something. Can a worldly Messiah walk on water? Can a worldly Messiah calm the storms and put the disciples in the destination right away? No. Jesus is showing them that He is more than a king on earth, but he is king in heaven. And the reason why he was walking on water is because to show the disciples that what they are afraid of, which is the storm, which is the waves, which is the water, is nothing to Jesus because he walked on water, showing the disciples that he has power not only to calm the storms, but to step on the very things that makes the disciples afraid. And he will do the same with you, whatever situation that you're in. And that is how you fear less. Because when you grab hold of Jesus and his promises, that he will never forsake you, that you are never alone, that he knows you, what you're going through, and he has gone through them, and he understands you. When your faith in Jesus is higher and stronger than the fear that you have in your life, fear loses its grip. Fear loosens his grip on your life because you have Jesus in the midst of the storm in your life. You may not be released from the fear completely, but with Jesus beside you, you can ride through the storms in your life with Jesus beside you. That is how you fear less. Jesus is telling us, look to me, not on the storm. In this same passage, in different book, Peter was part of the story, right? So when the storms were brewing, Jesus came. What did Peter say? Lord, I'd like to go to you. I'd like to walk to you. Tell me to come to you. So what happened? Peter took the first step in obedience. Another step, then what happened? He shifted his focus from Jesus to the storm, and he started sinking. A couple of things that you can get from that is, the most important one is he took a step into the water. Scary water, big waves. You need to take a step of faith in obedience to Jesus. You want to build strong faith? Because I was told that I should talk about faith and fruitfulness. You need to try it out. What do I mean? If you are undergoing terrible trial that brings you fear, and you read in the Bible, and there Jesus is telling you, have faith in me, you need to take the first step. You cannot develop your faith if you do not take the first step. And as you take the first step, you will see Jesus' faithfulness in his promises to be with you during the storm. Then you take another step. Then you take another step, keeping your focus on Christ. It's like developing a habit. The more you step out in faith, the more you will experience God's faithfulness in fulfilling his promises in you, the more you will say, he did this to me before, he was with me, I took a step of faith, and he was faithful in taking care of me. The next trial that comes, it will be much easier for you to take another step. And then you will see the goodness of Jesus, and then you take another step, another step, another step. That's where your faith grows. Every step, rely on Jesus. But if you're not willing to take that very first step, your faith will stay just as it is, and you will not be able to speak. Peter shifted his focus from Jesus to the storm. Another thing you should learn, Jesus and Jesus alone. When you are in a situation that is very critical, that is very hurtful, that is so scary, there will be people that will come alongside you and give you advices that is contrary to what Jesus wants you to do. Jesus has some ridiculous, commands. Love your neighbor, even if they put the garbage on your side of the street. What else? If somebody slaps you, turn the other cheek. Forgive your enemies. Right? Aren't those ridiculous? You know why you should obey them? Because Jesus said so. And as you obey, you'll see the goodness of Christ. You'll keep on obeying. And then that's where your faith grows, and that's where your fruit comes up. Because people will see what's different about you. Why are you acting this way when apparently or obviously Jesus doesn't care about you? You know why they say Jesus doesn't care for you? Because sometimes we as pastors, we think that just because we studied in Bible school and we are pastors serving Him, that we are automatically encased in a bubble as protection from the evil of this world. No. The more you serve, the more hard it will be, the more hard it will be, the more scary it seems. I got Parkinson's. I got the optic nerve problem that will make me blind. You know what happened lately? As an architect, we make designs. We have clients that come and ask us to do design work for them. Our major client is now fighting inside. So we stop having new projects. I have a shop, but from my carnal days, we have a shop in EDSA that modifies cars. Feb 18, a day after my birthday, the whole shop went up in flames. Some of you might have seen it. Wala, totally gone. And to top it all, that fire was on a Monday. Thursday, we got a new shipment of products from Japan. It was in the shop when the shop burned out. Totally gone. 20 million pesos of merchandise. Gone, up in flames. Health, money. Now, what comes next? I know this might sound trivial because it's not a human life, but it still stirs feelings. My wife has a dog, a Maltese. You know Maltese, a small white dog. The fire was on for Monday. Friday, my wife's dog passed away. No reason at all. The next day, my daughter's Labrador died. For no reason at all. It's easy for me to think I gave up. I work. You know, God, I'm spending so much time in ministry, spending so much time discipling the youth. Wala man akong consuelo. Kind of like, yeah, why do you have to give me all this stuff? Is it Parkinson's disease enough already? Right? Why do you have to make me blind? Why do you have to make me, no ready source of income? Why did you take away our pets? Buti na nga, hindi human life. But yeah, it's easy for me to ask. But then I realize that this has to be something that God wants me to do. So what I do is I look into myself and I pray to God and I tell Him, Lord, kung talagang matigas ang ulo ko and you need me to have Parkinson's, blindness, no business, and dead dogs, then so be it. I'd rather be sick and useful to God rather than no sickness, no fruit. You get what I mean? There will be times in your life where God will come along and say, you need to experience this for me to use you better. I struggled with this. Parkinson's was 2013. Blindness, I discovered it was last year. And then when I read the Bible, it says, have faith. Because you are doing this for my glory. You know, I got upset when I heard that things will come into your life to glorify God. You know, I freaked out. I don't want to end up in a wheelchair. I don't want to end up blind. I questioned God. You need to tell me, God, that you gave me Parkinson's and you gave me this blindness to glorify you. What if I don't want to glorify you? Will you heal me? What if I want to glorify God in a different way? Will He take away the sickness in my life? If you are thinking that way, like what I thought of, then we have a wrong concept of who God is. He wants us to look at Him as Lord and Savior. That whatever He is doing in our lives, in the midst of the storm, we should look at Him and Him alone for our help, for our comfort, and for our guidance, and not look at the storm in the sea. We have to take every step for His glory. Take a look at my testimony. I shared that testimony in one of our camps. And the funny thing was, when I was assigned to talk about myself, they didn't know me. Our senior pastor didn't know that. Even my tormentor didn't know that. So when I came up with my manuscript, I told our senior pastor, Boksu, would you like to read? I'm finished with my manuscript. Nah, just go ahead. Share it to the crowd. Then I went to the school principal. I said, Mrs. V, my manuscript's done. Would you like to take a look? No, it's okay. We trust you. Then I shared my testimony in front of 700 strangers. And it's a miracle that they still keep me as a pastor. Take a look. And if it helps you, share it to others. You know, one other thing that will make you fearless, take the unknown in your future and give it to Jesus' hands and let Him handle it. The reason why we are afraid is we tend to want to be in control of our lives, and then something comes and then we don't know what's going to happen next. Because if you don't know what's going to happen next, how can you control the situation? It's a fear of the unknown. But if you know that the unknown that you are afraid of is in the hands of Jesus Christ, you are fearless. What's the worst that can happen to me? I know it's time's up, but give me a few minutes. What's the worst that can happen to me? What's the worst that can happen to you? The worst that can happen to me is my tremor on this side will transfer to the other side, and I will be shaking all over my body, and I will end up in a wheelchair. Eventually, I cannot speak until I take my medication. I know what's going on because my mother-in-law also has Parkinson's. Blindness, what would happen to me if I were blind? But eventually, if you think about it, the worst thing that can happen to any one of us is what? Death. No matter what you're going through, we all end up dead. So my thinking is, serve God in spite of the Parkinson's. Eventually, I'll die. And what happens? The thing that we fear the most, which is death, is actually not a bad thing at all. Because eventually, if I die, where do I go? Where do Christians go? To be with Christ. And if eventually I die and be with Christ, no more Parkinson's, no more blindness, no more pain, no more taking of medication. And doesn't that seem like the best that can happen to us? And the Parkinson's? Temporary inconvenience as I serve God. Look at your troubles that way. What's the worst that can happen? You lose your position, another church is waiting for you. Right? You didn't graduate? Nah, I don't know the solution for that anymore. But finish it. Finish it. I don't know what you're going through. But whatever you're going through, I'll leave you with this. It is I. Do not be afraid. I'm sorry, I forgot. I printed memo pads, cute memo pads, and the cover is that one. It is I, do not be afraid. And when you open, there's a lot of memo papers inside with that passage on the top of the paper. So what I was trying to do, I'll ask Brother James or somebody to bring them here, and then you distribute it among yourselves. Each page has this passage, it is I, do not be afraid on top. And then what I wanted you to do is to write all your problems below that one. So you write all your problems like I'm failing or whatever. Sorry to keep on mentioning failing because that's what I experience also. So write all your problems beneath it is I, do not be afraid, and see that any problems that you have, God's promise is over and above anything that you're experiencing right now. But since I didn't read my vocab, probably in your class or your small group or whatever, take out a piece of paper, write that on top, and list out the problems that you have below. And see how insignificant our problems are in the face of Jesus. Let me pray. Let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for these young men and women who you have convicted to learn more in serving your people. We know that a lot of things happen in this world because we live in a temporary evil world. But I pray that every time they're experiencing troubles that keep them awake, troubles and pain that tend to try to let them not look to you but to look at the situation that they are in, we pray that you will make your presence be felt by each one of them, and to always remember that you always say, "It is I, do not be afraid." I pray for each one of them as they go to their individual ministries that you prepare for them. May they go to their ministries with a smile on their lips, because now they know that they will serve you because they love you. And that is because you love them first. We pray for the rest of the year, their school year. If there's any exam, we put everything in your hands. In Jesus' most precious name, amen. Amen. Thank you guys. God bless you all.